Hey gang, Joyce with Skipping Calves Farms here. I've been fighting with fencing here for the last several days. One of the things that I like about the charger that I have is when it's not putting the AC charger for my main unit, when it's not putting out as many or getting back as many volts as it should, starts to pop a little bit louder, and so it's been popping loud for a couple of days. At first I was running about 4,800 volts, and I think it's about at 5,000 volts is where it starts to get a little bit loud. So looked around, checked, couldn't find anything specifically. I did find a place where one of my and I didn't do a video on it, and I probably won't, but I had done kind of a personal aftermarket A structure. You can kind of see there in the middle. I've got it zoomed way out because way in because I'm way across the property, and I had recently really tightened down the fencing tension, probably more than I should have, and certainly more than I needed to, and it tended to pull that fence over and out. So I spent several hours yesterday working on that and getting that resolved. So I thought that might have been part of my problem, and in that corner, that bottom, of course, with the with the post coming up, that bottom rail was a little high, and it looked like I might have had some animals coming in, and of course I've had a ongoing problem with either a possum or raccoon or both getting into my grape arbor out there. And I walked out there again this morning to the grape arbor. There it is. You can see the ladder out there, and there were grapes that were half-eaten sitting on the top of that ladder. So I still have a problem with that coming in. I had put the trap over by the corner. I've since moved the trap over by the grape arbor. Hopefully that'll help me figure out what it is that may be my problem there. And then I still got to figure out what's going on with the fence. I had taken the charger down, the charger that's inside the truck box, and I wasn't getting a charge out of it. Turned the power off. One of the connections was loose. I tightened that down. I double checked everything. I was getting maximum voltage out, and then when I hooked the connections back on, the voltage was dropping. So that told me that the problem wasn't with the AC charger that's inside the truck box over there. The problem was somewhere in the fencing system. So we have been pretty dry. I took several buckets of water and poured them around the two grounding rods to make sure there was some moisture there. Evidently that wasn't enough. I just came out here this morning and was checking my solar charger here that's on my poultry fence, and when I tested the poultry fence, it was just giving me a background of 0.5, and I'm going, wait a minute. So I inadvertently I found myself stomping down a yellow jacket nest, and so now there's some yellow jackets that are not too happy over there. Let me reach down. I'm standing, I guess, about 6 feet away from them, but let me get my fence charger. This is an inexpensive one that I've had, relatively inexpensive one that I've had for a number of years and been happy with. But on my solar charger, I don't know if you can see this on the camera. It gives a green flash, and so the charger is working. So I did what you normally do, and I apologize, I'm doing this with one hand, so bear with me. You stick the probe for the charger, you stick the probe in the ground, and then you connect the hook, and then you get the reading. Well, that reading is 0.06. That's a background reading. I'm going, wait a minute, what's going on? So I said, how can I check this charger? Well, this charger is connected on the hot side here via this plug. So I said, okay, well, let's stick, bear with me here. I'm working with one hand here, so bear with me here. See if I can get this in. There we go. So I stuck that in the ground and came up here and tested the charger. And I'm getting a background reading. That doesn't make sense. So I said, how can I check? See, the key to the answer always, gang, is to be thinking. It's not what you think, it's how you think. So if we're trying to solve a problem, what's the problem we're trying to solve? The problem we're trying to solve is, number one, why am I having trouble with both fencing systems at the same time when it's different fencing and different chargers? And that leaves, well, it may be a grounding issue. Okay. Well, if it's a grounding issue, is there any way to test that? And in fact, there is. But I don't know if I can set this up so I can set this down and show you. Whoops. Sorry about that, gang. Let me see if I can set my stick down on the ground in such a way that you can see what you need to see and it's not going to fall over. Give me a moment here. This is closer to reality TV than any reality TV you're ever going to see. So, okay, so what are you looking at now? This is the ground wire from the charger itself. This is going down 6 or 8 inches into the ground. I've been using the solar charger for years, and I've always used the ground rod in pretty much the same way. Okay, so, well, let's, if I take the probe and I touch it to the ground rod, I'm getting a decent number. Okay? I'm getting 1.1 K. Why am I getting 1.1 K from the ground? Well, let's try something else. And I'm going to need to pick up the camera and hold it in my hand or do something with it because I can't really show you both at the same time. So be patient with me. Cinematographer not, but we will try to so if I put the probe on the rod, because 1.5 K is about what I was getting out of my other system. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show this to you guys, but if I put the probe on there and then touch the probe to the clip on the other side, I'm getting 8,000 volts, 7,800. So, so that tells me the problem is on the ground side. And so I just started walking the perimeter of my fence to try to determine what the situation is and was, and I've just determined it's a grounding issue. Earlier in this spring, I had a problem with the grounding issue because we had so much rain, and the grounding system for my main system is up underneath that truck box. So it gets a bit of the runoff off of those roofs, and it stays moist because it's close to the driveway as well. I did that deliberately to try and keep it from going dry. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to pull the garden hose out, and I'm going to put, I don't know, 10, 20, 50 gallons of water around those two grounding rods and upstream a little bit from those two grounding rods, and see if we can't get the voltage on this fence back up where it needs to be. This morning it was down about 1,500 volts, and you need at least 4,000 volts to really be effective with sheep. Now, I've only got 2 sheep. They're very well trained. They're not going to challenge the fence, but that's not the point. The point is my job as steward of this land, and my job as steward over those animals is to try and protect and provide and protect for them the best environment I can. If you look down here, this area had a fence around it for quite a while. Looks like the chickens might have gotten into it a little bit. I may have to put a fence back up. But that was before I had gotten my new reels, and I needed a reel to get things done. But you can see these sweet potatoes have not done well. They got in at the end of the rain, and they've been back here dry. They're doing okay because they're real close to the creek. It's on the low end of the property, and they do get a break in the afternoon from the intense afternoon heat/sun. So we'll see. We'll just kind of let nature do its course with the sweet potatoes this year. We'll see what we get. And with the program I'm putting together in my own mind at this time in terms of recalibrating, remineralizing, and reinvigorating the soil, hopefully we'll have a much better season next year. So with that, I'm going to wish you blessings for the day. And evidently I was fortunate enough on that yellow jacket nest. It looks like I stomped it closed, so I didn't get a bunch of them coming out at me. There's about 8 or 10 flying around trying to figure out how to get back home. I'm sure they've probably got a secondary entrance somewhere, and or eventually they'll dig themselves in or dig themselves out. But I don't think I really want to hang this close for much longer. So blessings for the day, and whatever you do, just keep chasing your dream.